Magic box is full again.
Mecca lecca, hi mecca, hiney ho.
Let's see what else we got in here. Some low end stuff. And then we've got a couple slabs at the end and a silver variation of one of the top QBs in the 2021 class. I didn't list the price on this one for some reason. This is a /50 non-first. I want to say I paid maybe $2 to $3 for this one. It's an Ortega Gold out of 2022 Chrome. I didn't even have to use a magnifying glass. I can see that it's all scratched up at the top right there. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's without the magnifying glass. Let me see what else I can see. That's ugly. It's like you had to, like I said, you had to try. See on the arm there, all those scratches, and then the ones above. You have to try to scratch something that bad. It shouldn't come off the printer like that. Now, I'm not saying it's the seller, of course. And you know, I thought about it. Sometimes maybe it seems like I'm putting it on the seller when it comes to those kind of things, but I get that it does seem like stuff comes scratched from the factory. That's my assumption. I'm not really going to put it on the seller, but it's unfortunate if you are a seller and you don't check the stuff good. All right, so next up we've got an Adrian Placencia first to $250 and $4.58 for this in all its purple sexiness. Print lines down the center of the card and then scratches right there on it. So that's what I was talking about, Eric, the previous part of the video. Was oftentimes you're probably just better off buying graded. And let this video be a lesson for all of you. All of this stuff that you're seeing, if you think that it's easy to buy raw to grade, just take what you're seeing here. This is why I do it. And so I don't really ask for videos ever to be shared out, but if this is something you feel like could be helpful for people, then share it out. I think this is information that's good for people so they can kind of see what's coming in the mail, because not too many people will sit there and take the time to inspect it and then tell you all out there what things look like. So this is Spino, $370 for this one. Refractor, you've seen a few of these already. Just saw today that he had a setback, arm injury, so he's gonna be out for a while. Scratches all over the card. See some up there.
Yeah.
And then there's a fat one right there.
Yeah.
At all levels of the card, when I talk about that, I've said that before, I talk about kind of like a card in thirds, or you can even say in halves or quarters even, but usually when I'm saying it, I'm saying thirds, like a top, middle, and bottom. If I see scratches in all three areas, I just say, oh, at all levels of the card. So that's what I mean if you heard me say that in a previous video. So we are 3 for 3 in duds so far. Had to rock the yellow shirt again, just to stay consistent with the first part of the video. Was this washed? I washed it, come on. Cueva Mini Diamonds, $2.43. Can we break our streak here? 3 straight L's we've taken on the evening.
Emotional damage.
All right, nice, we got a W, finally. This card has some of that design issue in it, like I had talked about earlier in the video, where it looks like there's just white, like a white line down there, you see it? And then across as well. I'm assuming it's from just the way it's done. The black and white kind of brings that out in the color, yada, 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 because it's not a print line. Again, I don't know how that would look in terms of grading and how they would judge that. They shouldn't. It's like I said, it's not a print line or anything like that. So we got a W. Much appreciated. Glad to see the streak is over. That's from Extreme PC Machines. So thank you very much. Put his info up there for sure. When you get a W after a bunch of L's, you got to show the love of those that hooked it up for you. Got a Cueva Mojo this time, $257 for this one. And an update to what I talked about in the previous part of the video with the seller not sending the card. He didn't send the Confidant that I won. It went along with this Valenzuela that I won. I see that he had sold a Valenzuela auto that same day he sold me that one. And he was saying that he swore he packed up the card. Well, I wrote him back because I took the initiative and did the research and saw he sold a Valenzuela auto that same day. And so I was like, hey dude, like, did you accidentally slip it in there with the other Valenzuela? Because I actually had that happen to me before where a seller did that, where somebody won the same name player. This was several years ago, so the details are a little sketchy. That seller had ended up putting my card in with the card he had sold to the other buyer. Or what I told the current seller was, I said, oh, I'm sure once that individual gets my Confidant in the mail, that he'll be definitely contacting you and trying to get it back to you so that I can get it back in my hands. That Cueva looks good. Much appreciated. I got to start giving more love to sellers who do good. Sammy Sports 2 on that one. Justice Thompson to $1.99, $2.43 for this one. See some low-end scrap heap firsts here.
That's drama.
Yeah, I can see already this one's got issues. Trying to see if it'll buff out there, but tain't happening. Yikester. Look at this. All these white spots all over it. That's not a new type of speckle either. Fat print line all the way down the card. Kind of make it out on his leg right there, and it makes its way all the way up there, and it's got more of that white streaking on it. It's kind of like almost like somebody dripped some paint on it or something. Obviously that's not what it is, but it's wretched. It was nice to get 2 W's in a row, I tell you. 2 cards here. Paid $6.94 for these. These aren't the cards here. Obviously you threw in a little something extra. There's an auto, and then there's a color first in here. Damn, hooking up some chrome for me. Manoa, nice. Yeah, I wouldn't expect those cards to be in any kind of good condition. Definitely appreciate the freebies. All right, so here we go. Here are our cards. Got the Speckle Green, Dominic Keegan to 99. God, my light, what the heck's going on? And then the auto. It's a base auto. Rays catching prospect. He will be 23 later in the year. Is it ever going to turn out to be anything? Probably not, but for $6.94, if you can get it to 99 and a base auto, I think that's something you definitely want to try to take a look at. Super faint print line. You kind of see it there by his mouth. This certainly looks good to me based on what I've been seeing out of 2022 Chrome. Faint print line on the card. Maybe not as faint as the other. It looked like there's like a slight scratch across his forearm there, but again, like I said, for a base auto and then to get a clean to 99, mostly clean, I think you'll consider that a win.
That's massive.
I'll flash the seller's name here. The name didn't come out on the label like it does sometimes, and some extra cards. Much appreciated. Obviously, you don't expect much out of some free cards, but I'll take them. I give them away with things I sell. $8.91 for this card. It's a Noah Miller Speckled Auto. Continuing with our trend of if you can get things for cheap, then maybe you take a shot at it. In his particular case, in a first rounder, towards the end of the first round, and he did have just a little tiny bit of hype behind him in 2021 Bowman. Not as much, of course, as a lot of the other guys in the set. Very, very faint and small little nick there on the card, like a little tiny print line. It's not even really picking up, so another W. Things are turning around, baby. That eBay sellers, prospects are us. All one word. All right, down to our last 2 packages. These should be going up in value here. We've got a orange Cueva here. Paid $32 for this. Oh my God. So I'll definitely be sweating this one.
I'll let you sweat it, Wimp.
So there you see it is, orange to 25. Bottom's a little thin. As you can see, the light's really messing me up. Let me get this out of the top loader. Oh, he used the clear tape. Total rookie move. I don't know how to feel about this right now. Outstanding card. Looks good.
Oh, super Pee-wee.
HP7 is that seller's name. All right, the last package here. We've got 3 items in here coming from Indiana. Here are the costs. 2 slabs, a Baez and a Sweeney, both 10s, and then a Fields variation silver raw. Saw the prices there. The Baez, interestingly enough, sold for more than the Sweeney. I was a little bit surprised that that was the case. I had my bid set up on the Sweeney to be higher than the Baez, so I barely won the Baez, and then comfortably won the Sweeney. If you recall from a previous mail video recently, you'll see once I pull the card out here, this 10, I bought a raw copy. So either I way overpaid for the raw copy or I scored a deal on this PSA 10. Let's get the raw card out first. There she is in all her glory. There's some stank on the Ultra Pro there. Will he be in Chicago as the QB next year? Or will they go a different direction or draft a QB at number 1 overall and ship him out? This is actually a pretty clean card. I felt comfortable paying what I paid for it, which again was $35.66. The 9s of this were going for about 50. So I figured with what I paid, if you add in some grading costs to it, that you'd at the very least break even at this point in time. You see a little something up there, and then there's a little something up there. You can't really see it that well. A little roller mark action. So I would think that this one would have a good shot to be a 9. I don't know about a 10. I wouldn't submit it thinking it would have a shot at a 10. I would think that it would be a 9. And if it came back at 10, you're gonna love it. So I will put that seller's information out there as well. All right, so here's what we got. 2 graded cards. Let's go ahead and go with the Sweeney first, $56.55. I picked up a raw copy of this several weeks ago, and I want to say I paid somewhere in the upper 30s for it. So like I said, either I way overpaid for the raw copy, or I kind of got lucky and got this PSA 10 for the price I did. He's older. He's about to turn 23. He's a lot better stats-wise if you look him up, a lot more advanced AA relative to this gentleman. But this gentleman's only 19. He'll be 20 later in the year. It's a Baez gold to 75. So a higher numbered card relative to the Sweeney. Prospect is younger, but he's playing at a lower level right now and hasn't produced as much at all, and ended up paying more for this card than the Sweeney. So it's interesting how things work out. $61.67 for that one. Just some things to think about. Some of the prospect mentality, people paying for anticipation, hype. Yankee, another historic franchise though, right? So it's interesting how things work out sometimes, how the cost of things tends to be. And I think stating the obvious, there's a lot of people out there who often speculate on the next big thing, and they'd rather have a 17, 18, 19-year-old and rookie or low A ball who really hasn't done much versus a 22, 23-year-old who's putting up numbers in AA. Interesting, counterintuitive. They're doing the high ceiling, really low floor kind of thing, I guess, in terms of how they're putting their money to work. So thanks for watching this mail day video. Hopefully everyone's doing well.
Now I'll have to check and make sure none of your bones are broken with my X-ray vision. Floral print.
Oh, Super Pee-wee.